What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. We've got a whole lot to unpack today, mostly with the Cleveland Yankee series. We're going to talk about, obviously, the Dodgers and Mets, though that one seems all but over, honestly. But yeah, we'll start with the meat and potatoes, the big bulk of our conversation here. God, my tattoo on my back is itching like hell. Holy shit. Okay. So yesterday was, as a baseball fan, like as a true fan of the game, it was everything you could have wanted out of a baseball game. It was fucking intense the entire ride, the whole game. As a Yankee fan, I was shaken until about the 8th, then it exploded, but we're going to break that down. So let's start from the top. So the Yankees obviously are the visiting team. They hit first, and they put a run up quick. Jose Trevino with a single, hasn't started a game since the end of the regular season. Came in, was batting 9-hole. The Yankees really just kept going at him and made it all the way through the lineup that first round. It was pretty intense. It was pretty insane. I'm sorry, that was in the second inning, not the first inning. The second inning. Nothing happened in the top and the bottom of the first. And the second inning, Trevino comes up, boom, gets the hit, puts him on the board first. And then the Cleveland comes back and scores 2 in the bottom of the third. Now, it was 2-1 Guardians for a while. Then it ended up going 3-1 by the 6th inning. And then we kind of busted it open. The Yankees busted it open. So breaking it down, I always like to start with the pitching because that kind of explains a lot of what goes. Obviously, the pitcher dictates the flow of the game. Schmidt went 4 2/3. His first 2 innings were okay. I thought he stayed in there a little bit too long. He was very shaky, not consistently in the zone. He threw a lot of balls, 2 walks, only had 2 strikeouts, gave up a bomb. 5 hits, 2 runs. So not horrible. Tim Hill came in, did good. We saw Ian Hamilton, who did leave with an injury, which was a little bit weird. They said something with his calf. Haven't heard anything since, but that did happen. We hadn't seen Hamilton yet in this postseason. We hadn't seen Tim Meza in a while. We saw him yesterday. He threw 2 1/3, gave up a hit, 2 walks, so did not do well. Conley came in, did good. 1 2/3, pretty solid. I personally, and this is kind of where things are gonna, and we'll talk about this as we get into the latter half of this game, because this is when it gets big. If you watch the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'll save the Conley, Weaver, Holmes situation until we talk a little bit later. Now, going over to the Guardians, Boyd started, one of their stronger pitchers. I think, honestly, as I look at it, I consider them their ace, because he's everything, man. He's the best pitcher I've seen so far in this series. He was the best pitcher I saw in the series last in the division series against the Tigers. He's their guy. Lefty, the Yankees have a problem hitting lefties. So he was the perfect choice, the perfect guy to go this game to get them kind of back into the series. Smith did okay. Herron did all right. Gaddis also did pretty good. He gave up a run, though, on a walk, so definitely unearned. I guess it is earned. Oh, well, I don't have to go back and look at the specials. Again, we're going to talk about Class A. We're going to talk about Morgan and Walters and Avila, who Avila has been shoving. This whole series, he's done well. He did well against the Tigers as well. I mean, Avila has shown up and pitched in big situations when they needed it. Now, let's kind of break down the game. New York seemed flat after the first 2-3 innings when they got kind of punched in the mouth and Cleveland came in. They kind of settled a little bit. It didn't seem like they had as much energy as they'd had previously. And it's funny. So I'll say this because I said this in the podcast episode yesterday, and I said it the one before that. I was very bored with the Yankees-Guardians series. It was boring. When the other way around, I thought the first 2 games for the Mets and the Dodgers were like, holy shit, this is like entertaining. This is wild baseball. I was like excited. It was interesting. The tides have kind of turned. The last 2 games between the Dodgers and the Mets have been fucking shit shows. They've not been interesting to watch. I think the last time there was a good game was Game 3. Game 1, 2, and 3 in that series were solid. I'm sorry. Well, games 1, 2 were good. 3 started off well until Severino left. Walker Buehler turned in a great performance, and then it turned to shit. Yesterday was pretty much shit from the get-go. I think it was like a 10-2 game, which we'll talk about. But interesting enough that these things have turned, right? So now this seems like the series that people are interested to see because of what happened at the end of the game yesterday. So as we got into the later innings, so we'll go into the eighth. It was at that point 3-1, 3-1 Guardians. I was doing some training. I was training some clients, and I was actually watching the game on my way back home. So I was kind of in and out. There was another thing of bad base running. Jose Trevino was the victim this time, but bad base running seems to be getting the Yankees in more trouble than it. Obviously, bad base running is key. Good base running keeps you in ball games, can actually accelerate and get you some more runs in good situations. But bad base running is inning killers. They're vibe killers all the way around. So base running, but again, you look at the games previously, there was the Rizzo getting picked off. There was the Jazz getting picked off. Like, there's a lot of bad base running. It's a key part of the game. They got to be better there. So that was an inning killer there. So just not really showing up. Kind of going through the lineup before we really dig into this eighth inning. Torres 0 for 3, Soto 0 for 4, Judge 1 for 5. That's a big 1 for 5 though. Stanton again 1 for 3. Another big. These two guys, man. Then we got Chisholm 1 for 4. Who Chisholm batting a $148, 503. I've got some thoughts on that. We'll talk about it after we talk about this. John Birdie, who I'm really liking at first base, by the way. He looks really good there. 0 for 4, though, at the plate. Volpe, 1 for 3, has had a lot better at bats, 816 OPS. So Volpe on base is a good probability. Verdugo, 1 for 4. And then Trevino 1 for 2 with that big hit in the second inning, but then came up pretty much short the rest of the game. I think he got walked. No. He popped up or grounded out after that hit, and then they pinch hit Wells in there, which again we'll dig into all that for game. What is it for the next game tonight? I think we're on game 4. Okay, so going into that eighth inning, top of the eighth. It was looking it was looking very dim and grim for the Yankees going into that inning. There was no energy. Judge comes up. I think Soto gets on base, and then Judge comes up and hits a absolutely fucking clutch homer to bring the game back 3-3. And it was it was a monumental moment. I was like, holy shit, here we go. The Guardians were kind of like, we may get this one. Like what I said yesterday was going to be key. Them going to the bullpen with the lead. They had it. They had that piece. And then, of course, the Yankees just are the fucking Yankees. They're, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton, like, you expect that out of these guys. Big moments, big situations. That's why you pay them millions. That's why you pay them the big bucks to come do things when it fucking matters. So Soto gets on base. Judge drives him in with the home run, which barely cleared. It was a lot. It was a shot, though. Let me be honest. My allergies are killing me. And then Stanton comes up. So I thought, if anything, just pass the torch. Just pass the torch. Keep it moving. Keep it going. Let's get some guys on base. Let's drive some runs in. No. Giancarlo Stanton hits a fucking yam, dead center, which gives them the lead 4-3. Now, that's when things get interesting. So again, then we give the ball at that point. I think Conley was in the eighth. He closes out the eighth there. The Yankees come back, get another one, making it, what is that? 4-3. I'm sorry. 5-3. It's 5-3 in the top of the ninth. We're going into the bottom, 5-3. This is where, it gets it's a little crazy, right? So 5-3. I think there's a double off Conley off the dead center wall, which again was almost almost by inches, almost a home run. For who was that? Who was it? Who hit that ball? Let me scroll down. Forgot who hit. It doesn't matter who hits a double, right? Oh, it's Thomas. Lane Thomas hits the double, and then a pinch hit. Noel pinch hits. Big Christmas pinch hits for Schieneman. Is that his name? Yeah, Schieneman, however you pronounce his name, pinch hits and hits an absolute nuke 2-run home run in the bottom of the ninth, ties the game at 5 apiece. It was just, and here's the thing. So he gives up the double. Conley gives up the double, and I this is where I disagree pitching wise. They've thrown. Of course, we're going to talk about Luke Weaver. But before we get to Luke Weaver, honestly, I think I skipped a key piece. It was Clase who gave up the home run to Judge, who gave up the home run to Giancarlo Stanton, a guy who had given up, I think, like 5 runs all year, or 4 runs all year, gives up all the runs, the same amount in the postseason in one inning, which makes postseason baseball so special. It's like, fuck what you did in the regular season, fuck what you did in the series before that. Does not matter. It's what happens right here, right now. And for him, like Clase, just he's a power pitcher. He's going to throw it in the hundreds. He's like a 1-2, maybe a third pitch kind of guy, but really relies on that fastball to just blow it by you. It's electric, but just wasn't fooling the Yankees. He got pieced. I mean, just absolutely pieced. Yeah, but then tides turn, right? So here we go into the bottom of the ninth. We got Luke Weaver. I personally wouldn't have gone to Weaver. I would have left it to Conley. Even though Conley throws about 95% changeups. He's got a good changeup, but I think that they've overused Weaver a bit. I think that they've bought in a little bit too much. Now, I'm not being a dick. Luke Weaver is good. Luke Weaver is one of the best relievers we've seen in the postseason in a while. He's got a great changeup. He's electric. But you have to remember, we're on game 3. He's thrown every game. He's also thrown every game before that as well. Like, I think a little bit of fatigue plays a role there. A little bit of, he's hurting a little bit. I'm not hurting, but he's not fully. He's pitched every day. He's had one day off, and that was the travel day. Not as sharp. We saw that he wasn't as sharp the game before when he gave up the home run to Jose Ramirez. So, like, that was a telltale sign. And then you threw him in there again. Like, he got out of the inning. He ended up getting out of it. But, like, those, especially in a game like this, it matters. And I think that they've got a lot of film on him. They've got all the stats on him. Like, it wasn't the right move. Conley has barely thrown. Put Conley in there. You still haven't used Cousins. It's another guy. Like, give Weaver some time, like a little bit of time to kind of recuperate. I get it's his job as a reliever to come in and throw every day, maybe 1 inning, 2 innings, get a day off here and there. But in these situations, it's too much. It's too much. You used him too much. There's too much going on. You've thrown him every game, and I think that played into it, right? So, and obviously, Big Christmas, Noel is a stud, pinch hit. And it wasn't even like, he got lucky. No, he smashed that ball. He was sitting dead fucking changeup. And yes, that ball was middle. It was clearly not the right spot. But again, this is where I believe that fatigue plays a role. He's thrown every game. Like, the spots, the location, balls rise in the zone when pitchers are tired and they don't have that feel. That's going to happen, right? So he hits the home run. We're tied 5-5. And then it kind of got interesting. So the Yankees don't score one in the top. And we head into the bottom. Obviously, Luke Weaver, they're going to pull him. His job was to close it. He didn't. It happens again. But it sucks because there's been so much hype around Luke Weaver. And I think it's a little bit unfair that people are like, oh, Luke Weaver's not as good. Everyone was jumping the gun, blah, blah. Luke Weaver is good. Let's be honest. Luke Weaver is good. Clase is good. It's just, that's fucking baseball. And if you can't differentiate or know, then you haven't been around the game long enough to know that everyone's day comes. The foot will drop at one point or another. No one's perfect all the way through, especially in these moments in the postseason. It's going to happen. There's just no avoiding it. Unfortunately, it happened for both these guys at the same time, which is nuts, which is crazy that both these guys have been lights out and then the other shoe fell the same night. Nuts, right? But anyway, so go to Clay Holmes. I personally, watching the game, I'm a Yankee fan. I didn't know if Clay Holmes was the right move. Again, I was a little worried, and of course, there's I think they get a hit. Oh shit. My computer just freaked out on me. So going into the top of the 10th, right? So Judge strikes out. Rizzo, they walk. Pedro Avila walks Rizzo. Volpe strikes out, and then we go from there. But yeah, so we go to the 10th. Bo Naylor singles, right, to off of Clay Holmes, and then he gets around the bases, obviously. And then here we go, run around third, and it was 2 outs. He gets the 2 outs, so we had 2 outs. Literally storybook. Literally could not have played it any better. Clay Holmes just floats a fastball. I may say float, but it was 97, but throws one right down the middle. Fry doesn't miss it. Obviously, he's got the clutch gene. He had the clutch gene against the Tigers. He saved their season then. He's got that clutch gene to him, and of course, he hits the home run. It was a no-doubter, 105 off the bat, 400 feet. It was gone. Yeah. So, aftermath here. Let's talk about the aftermath. So, again, a great ball game. As a baseball fan, wow. It was nuts. As a Yankee fan, you're pissed because of and this is what kind of sucks, was that the comeback, but the back-to-back homers between Judge and Stanton, pretty much gone, erased. It doesn't matter. Had they won the game, that probably would have been a really big legacy piece to both of those guys, these Bash brothers, these Bombers. It would have been a big piece to their legacy. But because of how the game ended, it's gone, means nothing, sucks. But yeah, let me speak first as a baseball fan. This is what you want to see in the postseason. This is what the postseason brings out of guys. Like, it's insane. It's nuts. It's fun to see. As a Yankee fan, I woke up this morning, I went to the gym, and I like to kind of ponder what I'm going to talk about here and how I'm feeling. And I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I watch a movie network, and I'm in the middle. I'm kind of like in a neutral feeling. Obviously, pitching wise, the Guardians, today's probably going to be a bullpen day. I think we've got, the Yankees have Heel throwing, who again is a little bit worrisome because he hasn't had a start in quite some time, hasn't pitched in quite some time. I don't think he's ever been put in a situation like this. Again, he's a rookie. He's never been in this kind of situation before, because now the tides have turned a little bit, right? The Guardians have this momentum that they haven't had before. And a lot of people, I'll play devil's advocate on both sides here. It's like some people are like, so fucking what? They won one game, series is still 2-1. Who fucking cares, right? And I can see that side of it. Part of me wants to believe that. Part of me wants to be like, you know what? Who fucking cares? The Yankees still have, they got Rodon in their back pocket for Game 7. They've got Garrett Cole for Game 6. We're good. It's all right. Don't worry. We're okay. One game. Oh, well. And part of me wants to believe that. The other part of me is thinking, fuck. I was, as playing devil's advocate again, it's like you heard after the post game interviews with Aaron Judge. It feels like we lost 10-0. So what? But you didn't. But that's like, I don't think that's true. As an athlete, as an ex-athlete, I leave this game thinking, God damn it, I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm upset. This wasn't a 10-0 loss where we surrendered in the fourth and we just had to get through the game, wash it, and come back the next day. It wasn't. That's not. I think Aaron Judge is wrong there. That's not what this was. This was something just exploded on the other end. And they've been the Yankees have kind of just been waltzing through this series so far. It's not going to be like that anymore. I don't think there's something has been ignited on Cleveland's side, and I can't help but feel that. And, you look at history, you can look at in 2004 when the Red Sox won the World Series, they were down 0-3 to New York, came back and won that game 4, and then ended up ultimately winning the series on something that it should have never happened, but it happened in Game 4. Again, history plays itself. You've seen it in all of sports history. Sometimes teams just need that moment before something crazy happens. And as a Yankee fan, I'm praying to God that's not it. I'm hoping and praying that that's not what's going to happen here. But one can't help but think that in the back of their head that Cleveland might be onto something here. But again, I'm going to keep playing devil's advocate and snaking because the analytical piece to me is going to never arrive on one thing. I have to see the game. I have to be there and witness it and see how it plays out. But again, I'm still worried pitching for Cleveland is not going to be that strong. Starting pitching is wise. I can't, you've got, there's stuff on social media where Clase is a little bit, I think, fucked in the head. He's a little bit weary of himself because he's over here showing off all this other shit and trying to flex. And it's like, bro, okay, so you got hit. Okay, well, keep your mouth shut and come back and shove it the next day. So there's just too many variables, I think, still in the air with what's going to happen tonight. Again, we've got Heel throwing. He's a power pitcher, but also has been, he gets wild at times. This environment's going to be crazy. So we're going to see. But again, this is going to be one of those things where I think, we thought last night was going to be the deciding factor for the Guardians. They showed up. They punched New York in the mouth. Now I think this is New York's time to kind of just come back and really either, put your foot on their throat and don't let up, let them fucking have it, or this series is going to take a turn that New York doesn't want it to take, and we're gonna find out. Like I said, we got Heel throwing tonight. Let me see. We got some probables. I don't think we have probables yet. Besides, like I said, Heel's throwing. I think we're gonna get Williams for Cleveland. Okay. Now, kind of talking about the lineups a little bit, there's not going to be much of a lineup. Bo Naylor may come in and pinch hit halfway through like he did last night. I still think Hedges is going to get the start. Hedges is a much better defensive catcher, in my opinion, for Cleveland. I think we see Fry's going to play a big role. Kwan's going to play a big role as he has been. I wouldn't be surprised if off that home run, Noel gets a start in the outfield. I'm excited to see what what happens, because we've got a series now. Like, something's going to happen. I think depending on what happens today will determine the rest of it. But I think we got a game tonight. I'm excited to see it tonight, which I wasn't excited for the game tonight. I really thought it was going to be a jack off, whatever. The Yankees were going to roll through, but we've got a series now. Heel throwing for the Yankees. I wouldn't assume that his leash is very long. I think that Boone better be ready for somebody else, because the thing is that the bullpens are taxed. You used Clay Holmes yesterday. I in any situation, I don't throw Luke Weaver back out there. I give him the night off. Take a day, because that's something that hadn't happened in a while. So give Weaver the day. You're going to have to utilize this hope for that. Ian, if Hamilton goes to the IL, I think they're going to bring up Leiter Jr., which not bad. I mean, I think he's about equal to Ian Hamilton. So you're going to have to utilize some other guys. I think Conley goes back out there. Conley didn't do too much in inning and 2/3. I think he's ready to go. Put him back out there. He can eat you 1 to 2 innings. I think bullpen wise, they need to be ready. Same with Cleveland. The good thing for the Yankees is that I don't know if Pedro throws again. He's thrown Pedro Avila. He's thrown every game. So who knows what happens there? But that'll be interesting. When it comes to the lineup for the Yankees, sorry, a lot of question marks here. So obviously Jose Trevino got the start last night at catcher. Bad base running. I think there was 3 stolen bags, which has kind of been characteristic to what's been happening this year. I don't know if there's an arm problem, because he's definitely not slow to release. I personally think there's something, maybe an arm issue he's dealing with, some sort of discomfort, because he's not letting go like he did in 2022, like he did last year before the injury. Like he's a quick move, quick, fast twitch kind of guy. You can see him when he goes down to receive. Like, there's just something else going on there, and I think that's an underlying problem that'll probably be addressed in the offseason. Maybe it's something that's not dire, needs to be addressed now, but probably something to be addressed in the offseason. They pinch hit Wells in the later innings of the game. Number one, I don't agree with that move. I thought that was stupid. I thought that was really just adding insult to injury with Wells, who hasn't been hitting the ball well, is still just looking like he's not comfortable at the plate, which is strange, because all year he has looked like a confident hitter in the box, to now going to this. It just seems off, and putting him in there didn't seem like the right move. I think they should have, put Dominguez in there instead. I know they pinch hit him later in the game as well for Chisholm. I think that Dominguez should have gone in there and then threw Trevino back out there as well, and just burned Dominguez. I don't think it really mattered. I think Rizzo gets the start. Rizzo's been shaky on defense, though. There was a ball yesterday I thought he could have got to, and just didn't get over to get it. And I still like Birdie at first. I think that Oswaldo Cabrera might get a shot at first today. In all reality, you would hope that, with Chisholm, the way he's been swinging the bat, I would personally, and I get the business part of it, I get the money aspect of it. I think that, how much they're paying him, and this whole thing with them going and getting him from Miami mid-year before the deadline. Chisholm doesn't leave the lineup, unfortunately. He's been taking some bad at-bats. Playing defense smooth. I think he's had like 1 error maybe, but he's been playing defense really well. So the cost, I think, doesn't outweigh the bad pieces. The cons, I think they're going to keep him in there, though I wish we could keep Birdie at first. And move Cabrera over to third. It's not going to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen. And I don't think they're even going to move him down the lineup from that 5 spot. I think they're hoping for something to happen. He did get a hit yesterday in that inning where they were rolling through with the 2 back-to-back home runs. So sure, good, maybe a good sign. I don't know. But again, my dream lineup would be Cabrera at third, Volpe at short, obviously Torres at second, and then Birdie at first. And then if you need Rizzo in there, the thing about Birdie is that he can't hit either. It's kind of an automatic out. It seemed like that yesterday. So I don't think Birdie's going to go in. I think if anything, they're going to start Rizzo at first, or they're going to start Oswaldo at first. So we're going to have to wait and see. Catching wise, they're going to go Wells tonight, I'm pretty sure. I think that the only reason they started Trevino was because it was a lefty throwing, and lefty on lefty with Wells is proven to be bad. I'd be shocked. I'm waiting for the lineup to be announced. I'd like to see Trevino in there. He got the hit in a big moment. Trevino has the clutch gene. He has since he got to New York. He's had a couple walk-offs, a couple big spots. He came in a couple early years ago. Obviously came in clutch again in that first inning to get him on the board. So he can hit in big situations. He's shown that he has that. But again, does the bad base running, do the other at-bats overshadow? Does the not being able to throw runners out overshadow? I don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see there. But I personally think that Wells is going to go back behind there again. And again, I'm worried about the at-bats from Wells because and if they do put him in there, he cannot bat fourth. He's going to have to be probably in the same spot Trevino was in the 8-9 hole, honestly. So we're going to wait and see. But yeah, guys, this is going to be an interesting game, man, all the way through. I don't think the Yankees back down by any means. If I'm somber, I'm just a little worried. That's the worriedness in my voice. I mean, again, I say it all the time, probably oversay it. I'm a Yankee fan at heart to die for. I love the Yankees. I'm just a little bit worried after last night because I don't think that either Judge and them don't see the severity or they do know and don't want to, like, they're playing poker with their faces. That's fine. But this is now a must-win game for both fucking teams. Yesterday was kind of like, whatever happens for the Yankees, but it was a must-win for the Guardians. They showed up. They took care of business when it fucking mattered. And now again, but on the other side, they have to do it 2 times in a row. Can they do it 2 times in a row for a team that has not been offensively strong? We're going to find out. Now, the series that I think is all but fucking over. I mean, today we've got Flaherty going again, who absolutely shoved against them the first game of the series. Again, not a huge fan of Flaherty. I think he's a great pitcher. I just don't think he's anything overwhelming. But he threw well, and I think he's going to come out and throw well again because he's done it the whole postseason. And he did it for the latter half of the year. So I think he's going to come in and he's going to do really well. Can the Mets respond? Down 3-1. Again, maybe they're looking for that piece, that big piece that the Guardians have found. Maybe they're going to look for it. I don't know. But the way that the Mets played yesterday, we'll kind of go through that box score yesterday, though it's nothing spectacular. It was 1-1 in the bottom of the first. Dodgers took a lead, and the Dodgers just never let go. It was 10-2. I think I turned it off. I think I was getting ready to go to bed. I have a massage mask, and I think I was just listening to the game. I stopped watching. It was just brutal to see. Obviously, Ohtani's kind of out of this weird funk that he was in for a while. I think he went 1 for 3. Solid. Betts is 100% out of whatever funk. I know that people were really going against him at the beginning. There's pretty much all the divisional series and then all this series because he had been pretty quiet. But 4 for 6 last night with a home run with a jack. Not bad. Teoscar Hernandez is still in a slump right now, batting $188 with a 725 OPS. He's struggling. I know he got pinch hit for later in the game by Kevin Kiermaier. Edmund, kind of a diamond in the rough, 2 for 6, not bad. Kike Hernandez again, 2 for 5, who got a big move up in the lineup, who was batting 9, is now batting 5. Solid. Muncy 1 for 2, okay. Will Smith 1 for 5, and Pages 0 for 4. And then Chris Taylor got the start last night at second. I think him and Gavin Lux are kind of doing a platoon thing, going back and forth. Whoever's got the hot bat. But, Taylor kind of didn't do much. Pitching-wise yesterday, Yamamoto pitched very well. I know Quintana had been really good all year. Again, it's kind of been one of those things where the Mets have great pitching, but the Dodgers all of a sudden, who I thought personally was going to have issues in the starter role, have their starters showed up. Walker Buehler, Yamamoto now twice has put on a great performance. Like, I thought that was going to be an issue for them, and they've proven that that's not. And then their bullpen comes in and shoves. Like, what more can you ask, right? I mean, the thing about the starting pitching is that even last game you had Severino and Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler was just a little bit more crisp, and it played well. Severino, a little bit more wild, wasn't as crisp as he normally has been, and that came back and bit him in the ass. I think that was the same narrative last night. Quintana, obviously a great pitcher. Yamamoto, another great pitcher. Yamamoto just outed him just a little bit more. Quintana just didn't have it. 4 walks, only 2 strikeouts, 5 hits, 5 runs. Yamamoto, 4 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts. He just had the stuff working. Dave did give up another home run. That was to Vientos, who's got a hot bat. So, yeah, I think Budo came in. Phil Maton, I think at that point was kind of just damage control. Gave up a home run, but nothing really crazy. Then Young came into the latter half, and it just another 3 runs came out of that. Every pitcher last night gave up a run, which is it's a telling sign. When Phillips didn't give up a run, Trainin didn't give up a run, and Henriquez didn't give up a run for the Dodgers. That's big. When your bullpen's giving up 1 consecutively, it builds, and it comes to this thing now it's 10-2, and you can't get out of it. But yeah, let's look at the batters. I think Lindor, who was on a here, still 2 for 5. Vientos 2 for 5, not bad. Those guys, but you can't have just 2 guys leading the lead. You got to have more. Alonso 1 for 4, not good. Nimmo 2 for 5, who's nursing an injury and trying to really figure something out there. 2 for 5. Starling Marte, 1 for 5. What again? I am perplexed. JD Martinez, his time has passed. I hate to say it. I'd never want to be the guy to do that and call somebody out. But Carlos Mendoza needs to know that Winker is the better fucking choice all the way through. I get they're paying JD Martinez way more, and they need to get a return for that investment. It's not going to happen. I mean, you looked at all the look. If you're listening, I want you guys to go back and look at the at-bats of JD Martinez in the division series, in the wild card, and now again here in the championship series. It's not good. I mean, he's batting 222, 639, which he's living off. He did okay in the wild card, but it's just kind of taking a tumultuous turn. He's going downhill. I don't know why they keep. I think Winker should be starting at the DH spot all the way through. Iglesias, again, I think McNeil needs to go in there. I think that it's time. 1 for 4, 227, 488. Bader, I had $1.11. Okay. McNeil kind of pinch hit for them, and they got Tyrone Taylor in there as well. Francisco Alvarez is going to be their guy starting catching, which is fine, and you're going to take at bats from him later in the game. I get it. Winker came in there, then Torrens came in to catch the last part of the game, obviously as a substitute. But yeah, I mean, they got a lot of hits, 10 hits. They just couldn't plate runs. I think I saw they left 12 guys on base. Like, that can't happen. Again, it's the same thing that was happening to Cleveland. They get guys on base. You can't leave 12 guys on base and only score 2 runs. Like, if you're going to put guys in position to score, you got to be able to drive them in. That's the name of the game, right? So their key to tonight to stay alive is to get the big hit when it's necessary, play defense, and do the right thing when it happens. It's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be one of those things. This is like all hands on deck. The Dodgers are going to come back with everything. Their guy who's been their dude, Flaherty's pitching. They've got a lot of confidence. Like, if New York wants to do it, they're going to have to do it tonight. I mean, obviously it sounds stupid, but yeah. So I'll be watching both. I think the times have flipped. I think the Mets and Dodgers are playing at 4 tonight. Yankees and Guardians are playing at the night game tonight. It's going to be fucking cold. So will that play a factor? I don't know. But again, we're going to see. We're going to see, man. It's going to be interesting. So be sure to check those out, guys. If you're a baseball fan, an avid baseball fan, if you're listening, I'm sure you're listening to baseball in your off time. You're a baseball fan. These are going to be don't miss games, especially the Guardians and Yankees. And if you're a Dodger fan, you're going to be watching because you want to see your team clinch a World Series spot. So it'll be interesting to see. But once again, guys, thanks for listening. I know there's a lot of information I'm throwing out there. There's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of analyzation going on. So thank you for bearing with me as I go back and forth a lot of times. I'm one of those guys that can't make up my mind. I like to see both sides of every story, so I go back and forth a lot. So it makes sense. But like I said, thanks again for listening, guys. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening, be sure to give us a rate. If you're listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, comment, man. If you think I'm a moron, if you think my take is completely out of left field, let me know. Like, let's talk about it. I love discussing baseball. Let's talk about it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok. I got stuff on there. And if you want to debate with me as well, I kind of like to post stuff on Twitter while I'm watching the game. So check me out there on Twitter. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow morning with another episode talking about the games tonight. Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening.